Unit 4, Prose, The Attic, written by Satyajit Ray. See about the author. Satyajit Ray was an Indian filmmaker, screenwriter, graphic artist, music composer and author. He received many awards including 32 National Film Awards by the Government of India, notably the Padma Bhushan in 1965 and the highest civilian honour Bharat Ratna shortly before his death. So I want to ask you some questions before entering to the lesson. Have you visited your grandparents' house which is in a village? Is there any special location or scenery you like the most in the house or village? Have you seen attic there? What are the things you find in an attic? Are they attracted you? If your friend gets prize in a competition, do you feel jealous or happy? So these questions you have to think over. I want to give the meaning of attic. Attic means a space or room inside the roof of a building, that is called attic. See the key points of the story. This story is about a childhood experience of Aditya. Aditya as a student was jealous of his fellow student Sanya. He borrows his silver medal and later tells a lie that it had slipped through a hole in his pocket. After school studies, he goes to Kolkata and continues the business of his father. He comes back after 29 years and visits his native place. His conscience pricks him from cheating his classmate Sanya. He decides to make amends for the mistake he had done in the past. Now, listen to the summary. See the summary of this lesson. The author and Mr. Aditya were friends as well as business partners. Aditya's native place was Brahmapur. The author asked Aditya about his wish to visit his ancestral home, who were Jamindars in Brahmapur. His father was a landlord and later shifted his business to Calcutta, where he was born and brought up. Aditya left the local school 29 years ago after passing the matriculation examination from the school. Aditya thought even the school building might have many changes and it would not recognizable, and he wanted to visit Nagan uncle's tea shop. While they were travelling towards Brahmapur, the sun was soothing. There were paddy fields on either side of the road and the harvest was over. They reached the school and then they went to Nagan uncle tea shop. Besides tea, they had biscuits and souvenirs in his shop. The author asked Aditya whether everything was still the same. He replied that everything had changed. They sat on 2 tin chairs in the shop. There were only one other customer in the shop. Nagan uncle called the customer as Mr. Sanyal and reminded him to go home. Nagan uncle said to them that Mr. Sanyal was little hard of hearing. He had defective vision and he had no money to buy spectacles. All of a sudden, Mr. Sanyal stood up. He stretched himself and he recited a poem by Tagore Pandraksha. Without looking at anyone in particular, he made a gesture of namaste and left the place. At that time, the author noticed a sudden change in Aditya's expression and asked the reason for it. But he inquired Nagan uncles about Sanyal. Nagan uncle informed them that he was living in his friend's house after the demise of his wife and son. This brought about a change in him. He is not normal. he seems to have gone crazy, but he remembers incidents of the past, and he also added that Mr. Sanyal promptly paid for the things he bought. This shows that he had a sense of self-respect. Then they went to Aditya's ancestral house, which was ruined. Aditya went to his room where he was living in those days. He climbed up the stairs and reached the attic. Aditya said that the attic was his favorite room. The attic is a favorite place for children because they seem to be in the world of their own in the attic. On reaching the attic, Aditya stood on the top of the packing case. He pushed his hand inside the ventilator and took out something. He heaved a sigh of relief on taking it. The author wanted to know what was it, but Aditya did not tell anything about it. Accompanied by the narrator, he reached a jeweler's shop. He found out the weight of the article. At last, both of them went to Sanyal's house. They went to the room where Sanyal lived. Sanyal was not happy about the visitors. He remained undisturbed. Aditya asked him, "Do you remember Aditya Narayan Chaudhary?" Sanyal replied, "Yes, I remembered. As a child, Aditya belonged to the family of Jamindars. His parents were affluent, so Aditya grew up into a spoiled child. At school, I won a special prize for recitation. Aditya was jealous of me. He got the medal from me, saying that he would show it to his father. But he hid the medal in the attic. He told that the medal had fallen through a hole in his pocket. It was lie, and I did not believe it." "I know," said Aditya. Then he gave 150 rupees to him. Sasanka Sanyal refused to take the money. He said, "This is the price of the medal. It is yours." Man does change with time. A change came over Aditya. He was not the same Aditya as before. He remained silent. Sanyal said that he had recognized Aditya at Nagin uncle's tea shop, and so he recited the same poem, the Panraksha, on purpose, and he also added that he would have preferred to have the medal if it were possible. So, at last, the medal that had been hidden in the attic for 29 years was restored to its owner.
இந்த வீடியோ பிடிச்சிருந்தா மறக்காம சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணுங்க மக்களே.